How would you feel if your child was locked in a cell-like room at school without you knowing? Well, it happens more often than you might think. Seclusion rooms are used by school districts across our state, and they are perfectly legal. Denver 7's Jennifer Kovaleski talked to a Fort Collins dad who was sick to hear his son has spent plenty of time in his school's seclusion room.
Oh my God. I got you.
Yeah, I know.
For 7-year-old Joshua Lovejoy, this is his happy place.
Okay, calm down, buddy.
But Joshua's dad says this fun-loving kid becomes a very different person after he's been at school.
If you would have told me this before I seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it.
Don Lovejoy is talking about this cell-like space known as a seclusion room.
It's roughly 4 feet by 8 feet.
He says staff at Bennett Elementary in Fort Collins have put his son in this room more times than he can count. A room that's smaller than what's used in solitary confinement.
Do you think that's an appropriate place to put your son?
No. If I were to do that at home, I'd be in prison.
Seclusion rooms are supposed to be used to calm or restrain students who become violent. But because Lovejoy's son suffers from PTSD and other behavioral disabilities, he says the room does more harm than good.
When he's not been in the room, he can be a little rambunctious. He's very active. When he's been in that room, he can be extremely violent.
Just last month, Lovejoy says he had to take his son to the ER, where doctors diagnosed him with a minor head injury from banging his head on the cinder block walls inside the room.
I'm trusting the school to educate and keep my child safe.
The next day, these daily sheets from the school show staff put him back in the same timeout room for almost an hour. The report says he was unsafe, trying to punch, kick, and scratch staff.
It's a highly concerning practice that we want to make sure is as limited as possible.
Allison Daniels is with Disability Law Colorado, a nonprofit that investigates inappropriate use of seclusion and restraint in schools. She says this isn't the first time they've received complaints about the Poudre School District.
We have had to investigate allegations in Poudre on multiple occasions.
District policy says seclusion rooms can be no smaller than 6 by 6. So what does that look like? You can see the room is not that big. Now, Colorado schools are legally allowed to use these rooms, but only in emergency situations when there's an imminent threat of serious bodily injury. And as soon as that threat ends, schools must take the kids out of these rooms.
It's a very concerning situation.
Daniels also says seclusion is used more frequently on kids with disabilities. And because the state doesn't require schools to get permission from parents, there's not a whole lot they can do.
Now we start the game.
Oh, now we start.
Which is why Lovejoy is sharing his story.
I have tried every means possible on my own to alleviate this, and the school district's going to do what they want to do, and I think people need to know.
He says he's fighting for his son's future and wants to see the practice stopped in schools.
Seclusion is not the right answer for anyone.
Now, the Poudre School District denied our request for an on-camera interview, but sent us this statement saying they couldn't talk about Joshua's case. But parents who believe the district has violated its policies may pursue the matter in court. Ann?
Incredible. Thank you, Jen. And while Colorado does have some protections when it comes to the use of seclusion, we found other states like Georgia and Hawaii have banned the practice, and Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Texas don't allow it to be used on kids with disabilities.